What's up? It's Bobby Sampson. We just sing Avatar Fire and Ash. This is the third Avatar movie in the James Cameron movie series. He's coming out with more. It's at least 3 more that's like already projected to come out in later years. This is a spoiler review, even though I may be like vague because it's a little bit, it's not difficult to remember all the names. It is difficult to remember all the names because so much in this happens. This is akin to watching a cinematic movie series or a cinematic TV show, but in a movie. This is like TV, but long form, like a podcast, and it connects threads like TV, but in a cinematic way, and it delivers this medium, or it delivers this story as a movie, and it works really well. All 3 Avatar movies work really, really well. I can 100% see how this movie can beat Avengers Doomsday coming out next year. This movie is really tight-knit about family, about values, and what lengths will you go to get your family safe. Will you make certain sacrifices? Then this movie also brings into faith. I'm a follower of Jesus as well as my wife. Today is, in fact, our 1-year anniversary, wedding anniversary. And seeing this as a Christian, it's a lot of themes of just of forgiveness can be had and peace can be had, but there's constant warfare in this movie. And they built this from the first Avatar movie all the way up to this third one. The main arch nemesis at this point is the Colonel, Miles, I believe that was his name, and Sully. And now the world is expanding. I believe that was James Cameron idea to explore the world of Pandora more in each movie. So we had the first Avatar, they just exploring the world and they found the forest people, to sort of say. And then they had the second movie, Way of Water, and now they had Fire and Ash. And each movie did something different to where they expanded the world. And now you have this dichotomy relationship of Sully and Natari, and the Colonel and his girlfriend or spouse, however you want to look at it. The way that James Cameron thought this whole series up is really brilliant, and it's pretty cool and amazing to be able to make not only 1, not 2, but 3 3-hour movies. 3 3-hour movies. And people still show up and watch this. You have little kids showing up with their families dressed up, coming to watch this movie. And it's PG-13, which is pretty cool. To see this war-filled family dynamic movie. And it's a lot to cover in this review. And I'm not going to cover all of it, and it'll be like I have to circle back around if I'm going to do another review or rewatch this one, or just do like a marathon watch. And that marathon watch, that's 9 hours of watching movies. That'll be just like a day I have just nothing else to do other than to watch all 3 movies and then do like a big conglomerate review. So I'm jumping all over the place. Let's get to just the beginning of this movie. Picks up where the previous one left off. which it brings a connective piece to it, and it really bathes in the aftermath and the consequences and the fallout of the second movie, and you really grow to learn more about the characters. And from the second movie and the third movie, when you get into the second act of this movie, or at the end of the first act, you see the Colonel start to change up his words, where in the second movie he was like, yeah, the Colonel's dead, is me now, I'm in this new body. And now Sully's just trying to like tap into that. And it's like, hey man, you're in this new body. Yeah, the Colonel is dead. Open your eyes and see. But the Colonel's like, no, Sully, you're a traitor, and I'm not like you. I'm gonna stick with the humans, or stick with my orders, because you betrayed me. And this is a spoiler review. You start to see the Colonel start to slowly turn into something different, or turn with the Ataris. Ataris isn't like the blue people. I forget the specific name of them. They're on Pandora. The movie's named Avatar, the Ataris. And you like, you're hoping that the Colonel will like open his eyes and see, and you can say that he does, but he still ends up like hating Sully, or having quarrels, or just being his arch nemesis. This is like a classic arch nemesis type of battle in all three movies, and you don't really see that in most movie series nowadays. They usually kill off the villain. I remember when the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies came out, like in each three of those Spider-Mans, and even after the three Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, when they do the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, they just kill the villains off. And you see that from like the early 2000s all the way up to like now, where they kill off the villains and there's no like repeat villains. And when they do have a repeat villain, it's not always good in the movie. They don't always like do a good job. I feel like James Cameron is like, hey, we have all this short form source of storytelling or entertainment or media, and people's attention spans are tanking. Like my generation, Gen Z, I'm 27, my wife's 25, so we're both Gen Z. The attention span is like short. The ADHD is off the charts. But James Cameron's like, no, I'm gonna tell a good story. I'm gonna keep their attention all 3 hours, and that's what he does in this movie. The themes of faith, where you can see some other movies where they like completely try to go against God, unintentionally or intentionally. This movie tells a different story on a different planet, where you see how God is, and you see the division of people who have faith, and then you see the fire and ash people who practice essentially witchcraft. Essentially, the main leader of the ash people, like Nathori calls her a witch, essentially. And one thought that I had was, why would God interfere in a situation if you do not call out to God or ask to be saved by God? And one of the main things that the Ash people turned away from their God was because they called out to God and nothing happened. And so that brings up, like, okay, there's one thing not to call out to God and stuff happens to you, things like that. Then there's like another thing, you call out to God and it seems like nothing happened. God didn't hear you. But we have to like remember that, at least like real world Christian, not in the Avatar movie, God is the Alpha and Omega. God has a plan for our life. And maybe things happen that are catastrophic and are terrible. But it can always turn out for the good, and you still have a choice that you can make. Right? So still seek out the Lord God, Jesus Christ. Seek the kingdom first and his righteousness, and all these things will be provided for you. Right? And so that's, God has a plan for us to use us in his way if we seek him out first. And that doesn't always mean that every time we ask God for something, he will always give it. Because maybe what we may ask for is not in the best interest long term of ourselves or for the people, right? And maybe we can't see that at the moment, but God knows. So that's why God has a plan for us, and we stay faithful and obey his commands, right? And you seek the kingdom and you look at God's kingdom and you stay in scripture, you can see the character of God, Jesus Christ. And you can see his design, his plan. And it's a beautiful one. And God has given us free will. And that means we can make the choice to seek out God or to turn away from God. We ultimately decide if we go to hell or not. Like, if we are turning away from God and doing sinful things and not acknowledging our sin and repenting or changing our ways, then why would God want to send us to heaven when we pass away? When we're clearly keep on communicating through our actions and voices and things like that, that we are against God and his ways, right? But to love God is to obey his commands. So we can make the choice to love God and obey his commands, and we can see that God is more about life than only death and destruction. Whereas the devil is more about chaos and destruction only. He doesn't care about life. And that's just the reality of it. When you're given a choice with so many people on the planet, there will be people who obey God's command and people who choose not to. And then that's where you have like destruction and then death and the constant killing of innocents and people coming and stealing and things like that. When you think about the Ten Commandments and you think about what pirates do, or in the case of this movie, to bring you back to this movie, when they're in the airships flying in the beginning of the movie, and then the Ashby's come to pillage and to take and destroy, they're choosing to follow in real life, the devil's ways. And they're turning away from what life is. Whereas, yes, this tragedy happened, but they still had a choice to seek out the righteousness or the goodness in their God in the movie or on that planet. And they didn't do it. Right? So you have to stand up for what you love and defend it. because warfare is a real thing, spiritual warfare is a real thing. So I went down a rabbit hole with that, but that's mostly my review right there. It's like the thoughts that were going through my head. This is a movie that it will be rewatched later on. That's the biggest gist of this movie. There's the thread line of the family dynamics, dealing with grief and dealing with loss and being responsible, and dealing with like hate that grows in your heart because of the atrocities that happen. And you can see it in the Sullys, where like they're constantly going through war, and in the beginning of this movie and towards the middle, you can see how much that was shaping and changing them. And then they acknowledged it, and they knew that wasn't the right way. They were about to sacrifice one of their own, and they seen just how much they started to become like the Ash people. James Cameron did a fantastic job in this movie telling that thread line in this story without being too on the nose of preachy and things like that. So I thought that was pretty great. Overall, fantastic, a wonderful movie. I recommend it. A lot of people are already going to see it. We saw it at 3:45, and previews are 30 minutes. So we came to the movie like at the last trailer, and that was the Avengers Doomsday. I'm not going to spoil what that trailer was. I didn't even really want to see it, but it's yeah. Avengers Doomsday is coming. Will it be better than Avatar Fire and Ash? Who knows? I hope. I interested to see how good the Avengers movie is, and if they can bring that flair back to Marvel. It seems like behind the scenes they're doing a good job with the Spider-Man movie. So like I really enjoy those properties and franchises. I just like tell good stories. Doesn't always have to be great stories, but just tell good stories, and people will show up. And this is a clear testament with Avatar Fire and Ash, the first Avatar movie, and Avatar Way of the Water. Each 3-hour movies, but they're still good stories and good spectacles to be on the big screen. And you can see this movie, Avatar Fire and Ash, you can see it in 3D or regular. It's meant to be shot, or it's meant to be seen in IMAX and 3D, because you can see some of the scenes if you're watching it in the regular movie. Like, yeah, this scene probably will look fantastic like in 3D, but you know, it's like a price thing. You can get the Rico Unlimited, like we have. We pay $25 a month, and after that we only pay like a $1 fee to book the ticket. Or if you want to do the 3D IMAX ticket, it's like $3 or $4 extra instead of just $1. It's well worth it. If you see 2 movies in the month, it basically pays for itself. And then you see 3 or 4 or 5 movies in a month, it's basically free, or $3 or $4, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the movie. And yeah, let's have a conversation down in the comments below, or make a video and tag me and I'll watch it, and let's just have a discussion in this community. I appreciate it. Thanks. Love y'all.